Welcome everyone, join us today as we explore the extraordinary life and career of Colin Blunstone, from his global success with the Zombies, to his rich and enduring solo journey, and life behind the music. So let's dive in. Colin Edward Michael Blunstone, born the 24th of June 1945, in Hatfield, Hertfordshire, England. Raised as the only child of Arthur and Dorothy Blunstone, his early family life carried a hidden truth he wouldn't fully uncover until adulthood. Colin was adopted as a baby by Arthur and Dorothy, and the woman he knew as his aunt was actually his biological mother. During the Second World War, she had a brief relationship with an American serviceman, and when she became pregnant she moved in with Dorothy and Arthur to conceal it, then returned home after the birth, leaving Colin to be raised by the couple. He always knew he was adopted, but only in his late 20s, before her passing, did his birth mother reveal that she was his real mother, and that his father had been an American soldier, wounded in France and later sent home. Arthur worked as an aeronautical engineer at the de Havilland aircraft factory in Hatfield, and briefly ran a hairdressing business before returning to de Havilland. Dorothy, a former dancer, also worked there. Despite limited income, Colin remembers a stable childhood in post-war Hertfordshire. Music entered Colin's life early, and by age 10 he got his own radio, and became absorbed in Radio Luxembourg's nightly broadcasts of American rock and roll. The first record he bought was Elvis Presley's Heartbreak Hotel, and he became deeply influenced by artists such as Little Richard, Chuck Berry and Ricky Nelson. He sang for enjoyment but never had formal training, and also dabbled in guitar. Colin attended St. Albans County Grammar School for Boys. It was there he met keyboard player Rod Argent, guitarist Paul Atkinson, and drummer Hugh Grundy, friendships that would shape his future. He played rugby at school as well, and would famously arrive at one early band rehearsal with 2 black eyes from a match. In early 1961, as British beat groups were springing up everywhere, Rod Argent decided to form a band. He, Atkinson and Grundy began jamming over the Easter holidays, and bassist Paul Arnold invited Colin to join. Colin initially played rhythm guitar, but his voice stood out, and Rod soon moved him into the lead vocalist position. The classic Zombies lineup, Colin, Argent, Atkinson, White and Grundy, rehearsed regularly in St. Albans at places like the Pioneer Club. They built a strong local following, playing dances, rugby clubs and youth events. Winning a local beat group competition proved pivotal, with the prize being professional studio time. Rod wrote "She's Not There" specifically for the session, and the demo earned them a deal with Decca Records. Released in 1964, "She's Not There" became an international hit, reaching the UK charts and climbing to number 2 in the United States. The Zombies became part of the British invasion and were soon touring America. Their first album, Begin Here, was released in 1965, a mix of originals and covers reflecting their live sound. The Zombies followed with singles including "Leave Me Be," "She's Coming Home," and especially "Tell Her No," which became a major hit in the United States in 1965. They toured widely, appearing on Murray the K's legendary multi-artist shows at the Brooklyn Fox Theatre, and Dick Clark's Caravan of Stars, performing alongside the Shangri-Las, the Drifters, the Shirelles, and many others. International dates, including large shows in the Philippines, expanded their reach, though the financial rewards often didn't match their touring workload. By the mid-1960s, changing musical trends and uneven chart success placed pressure on the group, despite their reputation as musicians and songwriters. In 1967, the Zombies recorded Odessey and Oracle at Abbey Road and EMI Studios. Featuring songs such as "Care of Cell 44, A Rose for Emily, This Will Be Our Year," and "Time of the Season," the album showcased the band at their creative peak. But despite its quality, disappointing sales for earlier singles, along with management and financial frustrations, led the band to split in 1967, before Odessey and Oracle received proper promotion. Then came the twist. "Time of the Season," released in the US after their breakup, began climbing the charts. In 1969, 2 years after they disbanded, it reached number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100. By that time Colin was back in London working as a clerk at an insurance company, earning a weekly wage while his former band suddenly found new success in America. The unexpected hit even led to Fake Zombies touring in the US under the name, though Colin was not involved. Colin's time working in London was brief. In 1969 he was invited back into the studio, and began releasing music under the pseudonym Neil MacArthur, signed to Derham Records. As Neil MacArthur he released 3 singles, including a new orchestral version of She's Not There, which returned him to the UK charts. 2 more singles followed, Don't Try to Explain, and It's Not Easy. This period helped bridge the gap between life after the Zombies, and the start of his long solo career. By 1971 Colin was recording under his own name again. His debut solo album 1 Year was recorded at Abbey Road and other London studios during 1970–71, produced by Rod Argent and Chris White. Released in late 1971, 1 Year featured Say You Don't Mind, written by Denny Laine, reaching number 15 in the UK in 1972. And Caroline Goodbye, inspired by his breakup with model and actress Caroline Munro. In November 1972 he released his second album Ennismore, named after Ennismore Gardens in Knightsbridge, where he was living at the time, which included I Don't Believe in Miracles, which reached UK number 31. And How Could We Dare to Be Wrong, making UK top 50. His third album, Journey, in 1974, featured contributions from Rod Argent, Chris White and guitarist Duncan Brown, continuing his 1970s singer-songwriter sound. These 3 albums later became the core of the original album Classics reissue series. In the mid-1970s Colin signed with Elton John's Rocket Record Company, releasing Planes in 1976, Never Even Thought in 1978, and Late Nights in Soho in 1979, a European release. These albums reflected the changing musical climate while keeping him active in the studio and on stage. In 1982 he charted again with a version of The Tracks of My Tears. Colin also became widely known for prominent collaborations, such as singing on Dave Stewart's 1981 UK hit, What Becomes of the Broken Hearted, which reached number 13 in the UK and number 34 in Australia. He became recurring contributor on the Alan Parsons project, singing The Eagle Will Rise Again on Pyramid in 1978, Old and Wise on Eye in the Sky in 1982. Dancing on a High Wire on Ammonia Avenue in 1984, and Somebody Out There on Vulture Culture in 1985. In 1984 he also was lead vocalist for the short-lived band Keats, releasing 1 self-titled album. Other collaborations include Mike Batt on Tarot Suite, Losing Your Way in the Rain, and Don Airey, Duncan Brown, and Steve Hackett, Watcher of the Skies, Genesis Revisited. Colin continued releasing music steadily, including Echo Bridge in 1995, The Light Inside in 1998, The Ghost of You and Me in 2009, On the Air Tonight in 2012, and that same year, in 2021 archival recordings. Live albums, BBC sessions and compilation releases reinforced his long-term status as both a studio and touring artist. Interest in the Zombies grew significantly from the 1990s onward. Odessey and Oracle was increasingly acknowledged as a classic. This renewed recognition led Colin and Rod Argent to begin performing again, first as a duo and eventually reviving the Zombies with a new lineup. Major milestones included Breathe Out Breathe In 2011, Still Got That Hunger in 2015, and Different Game in 2023. They toured extensively across the UK, Europe and North America, including anniversary performances of Odessey and Oracle with surviving original members. They also toured with Brian Wilson and Al Jardine on the Something Great from '68 tours. In March 2019 the Zombies were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, marking a major moment of recognition more than 5 decades after their debut. A feature documentary, Hung Up on a Dream, The Zombies documentary, directed by Robert Schwartzman, chronicled the band's entire story, including Colin's adoption background. It completed its festival run and moved toward a wider release in 2025. On a personal note, Colin has kept much of his personal life private. In the late 1960s and early 1970s he was in a relationship with Caroline Munro, and later married Susie, a former Concorde air stewardess. Interviews state they have been together for decades and share one daughter Rosie, who completed medical school and became a doctor. Press profiles placed their home in Surrey, where Colin and Susie continue to reside. Today, Colin Blunstone remains active in music, continuing his solo work and honoring the Zombies' legacy following Rod Argent's retirement in 2024. He's embracing a quieter pace, working on new material, including a planned 2026 album, and still performing in more intimate settings, carrying his remarkable career forward with the same steady dedication that has defined his life in music. And there you have it. From his early years in Hertfordshire, to global success, classic recordings, a remarkable solo career and his ongoing work with the Zombies, his story continues to resonate, remaining deeply loved by fans around the world. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos on your favorite music icons, just like this. Take care and bye for now.